So I've been getting this question a lot in my comments, and I kind of feel the need to make a video on it now. And so this is going to be a different sort of video. It's not going to be directly like gameplay or something like that. It's going to have gameplay in it, but it's also not going to really have, you know, it's not the basis of the video. As you saw from the title, this is going to be explaining and showing to you how I add motion blur to my videos. Kind of like what you're seeing right now. You'll see some motion blur. You'll see that the game looks a little bit nicer or a little bit better. Some people like it, some people don't. To those of you that are watching this, you probably enjoy the motion blur and want to know how to add it. And so this is a video explaining that. It's very simple. You do have to have a software called DaVinci Resolve, which is a free editing software. So there's no money to be paid for it. There's a studio version, which is paid, but I don't use the paid version. I just use the free version. So first off here, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my DaVinci Resolve here. This is kind of what it looks like. It's going to look confusing a little bit, but it's actually pretty easy. It doesn't take that much work at all. It literally takes like 10 seconds. Now, rendering this will make it significantly longer. I will say that. Rendering a video with motion blur will make it render for significantly longer than you'd probably want to. So make sure you're using this, like, you don't want to have like a 10-minute clip and then just add motion blur to it, because otherwise you're going to be rendering that video for hours and hours, especially if you don't have the greatest of computers. That's going to take a really long time to do it. Go ahead and get into this. I'm going to just grab a random recording from my recordings here, and then I will just add a little bit of motion blur to it, and then you guys can see what exactly I'm talking about here. So I'm going to import this little clip right here. I'm going to change that just because I want it to be 60 FPS. And then we go down here. This is the little edit tab down here whenever this decides to process this video. So I'm now in the editing tab here. I'm going to drag this video down. I'm going to do just like a really short clip. I'm not going to do like 2 minutes of rendering, just this is an example. So we've got this here. So as you see in this clip here, there is no motion blur. This is just pure gameplay. This has nothing on it. So yeah, it just kind of looks like a normal clip to you. There's really nothing going on here at all. I'm just going to shorten this just a little bit, just because there's really nothing much going on in this clip here. So now this is where we kind of get into the motion blur thing. So you're going to go to a tab called Fusion, which is just right here, this little pencil down here. You're going to go here, and then this is what's going to look like really tricky. Is you're like, okay, there's all these things here. This is going to look a little bit confusing, but it's really not once you kind of get used to it. But all you're going to do here is you're just going to click Shift Space, and then this little select tool dialog box here will kind of show up here. You're going to search up for optical flow, or if you want to kind of memorize it a little bit better, it just says OF, and you can kind of, you know, make your little acronym that way. Yeah, so it's going to add that into this little bar down here. You're going to see these little nodes. These are called nodes. There's a media in node, and then there's a media out node. Now, sometimes this might happen where you import this, and then it doesn't actually like add it to the, it won't add it to this here. So it'll just be kind of on its own. So what you want to do here is you just kind of just want to like deselect this. You want to route it to this optical flow here, and then you're going to route this optical flow to the next node we're going to add. You only add 2 nodes. It's very simple. So it's optical flow, and then you're going to search it for vector motion blur. Now, I can't tell you directly why we add optical flow in here and not vector motion blur. I was taught this by a YouTube video, and this is what it said to do, and so I trust it. So I can't directly tell you what optical flow does, because I don't know what it does, but I assume it just makes it a little bit better to look at rather than it just being just pure motion blur. I don't really know what it does, but yeah. So now we're just going to do this media out. Now, like I said before, most of the time this will automatically be like imported into this. You won't have to do any of this work. We have to like change these nodes to go to these each individual areas here. So it'll usually be a lot simpler than this. But then the next thing you want to do is you just want to select your vector motion blur little node here. You just want to select it. You're going over here to the scale. I usually use 1.5 for my scale. You can use 1.0. It goes all the way up to like 10, which is an insane amount. But I'm just going to use 1.5 because that's what I usually use. Just because it's kind of like that middle ground of like not too much. And it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like perfect for me and how I like it. Everyone's going to have a different preference of how much they want. So kind of test around with it. Kind of do like some very short clips. Don't render out an entire video and to test out things. Test out some like 15-second clips, 10-second clips, just to kind of see what scale or how much motion blur you want on your clips altogether. And so for me, this is what I like is 1.5. Now you'll see this little red bar that shows up here. When you go back to your editing tab, there's a little red bar that goes up here. That's just going to show how much of it is processed. For me, I'm not going to wait for that to process. Some people like to wait for this to turn all the way blue, which means it's all the way fully processed. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly render this, and then I'm going to show you guys the finished product here. And that's literally all you have to do. Okay, so my video has now finished rendering here.
Oh, bang on.
Yeah, now you'll kind of see it. There's a little bit, it's a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit smoother. And that is just the 1.5 motion blur here. Again, you can add more if you want to. Just for me, this is kind of what I do. Just because it's not too much, but it also makes the game look a lot smoother when playing around and stuff like that. So this did take me like 10 minutes to render for a 20-second clip, 21-second clip here. So just be aware of that. I do have a pretty decent computer, and it did take a while for it to render that. So just be wary of that. But yeah, because if you guys did see this as a helpful video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. That lets me know that you guys enjoyed the video, and it also helps my video get out to new people, so more people can kind of learn about this stuff, and that helps my channel out tremendously. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Stay positive, everyone, and I'll see you guys hopefully tomorrow. Bye.